Alright everybody, so today we are doing more ribs. Yep, that's right. Gotta cook for the family, so I'm gonna start today. It's for tomorrow though, but I'm gonna do the ribs today. And so we got a bunch of slabs of ribs. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean them, I'm gonna prep them and everything. And then I got all my setup over here so I can prep everything and season them. And then we'll be out on the smoker today. So I'll show you guys how I do that. And we'll just set it up here and we'll get everything started. Alright, so let's get started. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out a slab of ribs. And then I'm just going to rinse them off. Bring them right there, cut that off. And now I'm just going to cut off. So these are like the spare ribs, so it's got that rib tip on there. So that'll be nice. We'll have ribs and rib tips. So I'm actually bringing this here so this can kind of just hang off into the sink like that. And then I'm just gonna peel this back skin off, and that just makes everything a little tender while it's cooking. It looks like it was already peeled off halfway a little bit. Get my knife. And now if you want to, you could also trim the fat. I don't trim any of the fat actually, because usually when it's on there for a long time, that fat will cook down, at least in my experience. But if it's too fatty, like there's some clumps of fat up here that I might actually cut off. Okay, so yeah, that's peeled. That is a little bit, all right, there we go. Just throw that in there. Yeah, so it looks like most of this was peeled, just a little bit of that wasn't. So now what I'm gonna do is, these are my ribs here. So I'm gonna take, and this is a bread knife, but it works too. So now I'm just gonna find right there, and then I'm just gonna cut. And then right over here, this is just some extra rib meat. I'll include that in there. So now we got beautiful rib tips here. So once that cooks, I'll just dice those up. And then we got our beautiful cut of St. Louis style ribs here. It's not perfectly trimmed, but oh well. So we'll throw that over there as well. And yeah, I'm gonna do the rest of them like that. I won't bore you guys with watching me do them all, but essentially it's just cut, rinse and repeat. Cut, rinse and repeat, and peel. So yeah, I'll actually come back and when it's all done, so that way you don't have to sit through this. Alright, so we are done peeling and cutting them up. And as you see here, we have 9 slabs of ribs, and then we got our rib tips over here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna season them all. So to season them, I'm just using something simple. I'm using some black pepper, a little bit of this Creole seasoning. It's got no salt in it, and then lemon pepper, because you know why not. And then I'm gonna add some rubs. So the rub I either use an applewood rub, but I like this Jack Daniel's pork rub. It has a little bit more smokiness to it, like smoked paprika in there that I like. So what I will do, first thing I do is I just drizzle everything in olive oil. Just kind of coat everything up nice and neat. Alright. And then we will flip them over. Actually, we'll season them first, and then we'll flip them over. I should have started with the underside. That way I can leave them sitting up with the seasonings on the fatter side, but I'll just flip them over again, or maybe hit them with another coat. So yeah, we will do our Jack Daniel's seasoning. And this is just the rub, so I always put this on first, and it gives those ribs a nice, beautiful color. I used to use like a spicy seasoning, the mango habanero. I used to do that in there, but this time I'm not, because I don't want to make it too spicy for everybody. So we'll just make it nice and simple. And these are like extra scraps of the meat that I was trimming. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but we'll figure out something with that. I'm going to definitely put it under the smoker, and we'll see what we can get from it. Alright, so now that looks good. So now we will go with a little bit of our Creole seasoning. And I don't need a lot, just enough on there to add a little kick to it. And then, of course, black pepper. And then lemon pepper, because I do like the little lemon. I like the little citrusy lemon taste to it. Alrighty, so that looks good. And some of these at the very top I missed, but oh well, it'll all go in the smoker. The juices will all run together. So now the fun part, flipping them over. And I guess they could stay like this, because then the seasoning is just going to stay against the plastic. So that'll be cool. And then once we get all this back over, it's the same thing, starting with the oil. And then we go with our pork rub. And it's just pretty much the same thing you did on one side, do to the other. Might as well use all of this, right? I try to make sure I coat everything, but you know, some pieces get a little bit more love than the others, but that's okay. Leave this up here. And actually I got another, I'll just hit a little bit. Just against the spots that I missed. Alright. Alright, and then what was, oh yeah, so the Creole. Then we'll do lemon pepper. And then, of course, black pepper, because I like a little black pepper on them. Whew, bless me. Yeah, this pepper will make you sneeze if you do it like that. Alrighty, so we got that. That's ready to go. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, I wish there was an easy way to do this, because I want to put all this in the refrigerator. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually just going to take this and roll them all together. Actually, yeah, we'll put this, because I'm going to put these in the refrigerator for a little bit just to kind of let them settle. Normally I would just put them in a bag, but I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to roll all this up. Meat falling every. All right, there we go. And then these are. That's that. And then what is this gonna do? Is basically gonna keep everything seasoned, and it's gonna keep everything cold. And I might end up putting this in the freezer if I have room, but if I don't, I'll just put it in the refrigerator. And then I'm gonna go outside, get my grill and smoker set up. Oh man, this is heavy. All right, and then so yeah, I'm gonna put this in the refrigerator, and then I'll be back out here. I'm gonna hook them up, and then we'll show you what we do next. All right, so we got the ribs and the rib tips in the refrigerator. I came out here to light the grill. So this is what we got so far. Right now we're climbing close to 200 degrees. I want to keep the grill at a steady temperature of 225. So before I get to that, well, 225 to 250-ish. But before we get to that, I got to let the temperature rise up to at least maybe 300-ish. Maybe like 300. And then once I put all the cold meat in there, the temperature is going to drop. And then hopefully it'll level off and stay at around 225-ish to under 250. Under 250 is what we're aiming for. So right now I got my coals. I just lit it in the middle. You probably can't see now all the smoke. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a couple of these wood logs on there. There we go. I'll just pack that down. And I'm hoping that the ribs are trimmed enough to where I can hang them and they don't touch that. But I'll do a trick for that. I'll probably hang it like on the third bone so it'll be raised up a little more. So that's the smoker. That's getting ready. Now over here I got my other smoker. It was a grill, but I attached the firebox on the side. I got my nice red hot coals over here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dump those in. See, I got those in. Those are gonna roast nicely, and I'm gonna add this little piece of wood. That's a mesquite. And yeah, so I'll add that there. I'm gonna open this vent up. I'm gonna close that. And yeah, we'll see what happens. So I'm gonna get my grace. I also got some charcoal down here. I'm just gonna scoot that over so it doesn't catch fire. If later I do want to get a sear on the rib tips, I might just put some coals over here on this, and these are just hardwood lump coals, so I can just add those to there, and I can just add a couple of lit coals to here, let it get on fire, and then I can have a nice sear if I wanted to. We might play around with that later, but I'm smelling hickory already, or mesquite. I always get those mixed up. But yep, so we'll let that do its thing. I'm gonna open this up. We will open this vent. So I got this open. I got that open over here. I'm gonna go ahead, yeah, this is open to get enough airflow in here while keeping this warm. And we'll watch the temperature rise. And yep, so now at this point, I think I'm gonna go ahead and see right over here, we're at 211. I want it to get hotter. You know, we'll just open that up. Let more air get in there, and then it'll definitely get hotter. So we'll definitely do that. So actually I think I'll open, yeah, I'll open this up, let that catch fire. And then once it gets up to temp, we'll be back out here, we'll put the meat on there, we'll shut everything down. And yep, but so far it's smelling pretty good out here. So I'm gonna go inside. All right, so I took them out of the refrigerator, I rolled them back out, and they look good. It smells really great. The season is kind of stood on there, and what's important is it's not rubbing off. Well, a little bit, but the season's on there, so it shouldn't go anywhere during the cooking process. Maybe I'll hit it with another coat in a second. So now I just got all my hooks. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with the thinner side, and I'm gonna hang it with the thicker side close to the fire, and just gonna poke them through just like that. So luckily I have exactly 9 slabs, and then I try to get in between a good set of bones. This one, I'm gonna go here though. Actually, I'll loop that through twice. Okay. Hopefully, yeah, that should stay. That should stay. I'll do that like that. Okay. Some of these are long, so I'm gonna have to hang them kind of in the middle. I could just trim them off, but I don't want to waste any ribs. So we'll just do a little of this at the top, so that way that gets cooked too, and the big pieces, the nice choice pieces that people like, are gonna won't get seared. Because I've had that before where some of the ribs were like barely touching it. It didn't ruin them, but if I can prevent that as much, then I will. So just basically right through there. Actually, we'll let that hang. And there's no really fancy way to do this. I just kind of hook them through the best way I can. And so far I haven't had any ribs fall off the hook. Once it starts cooking, the meat kind of secures itself a little bit. Alright. So this one's a pretty good size piece. I'm not sure which is the short end. I guess it doesn't matter. We'll hook this right there. Alright, beautiful. So now we got all our ribs slabbed up. We got our rib tips over there. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually, no, I'll hit it with another coat of some stuff, and then I'll take it out. So we'll take this load off, and we'll just hit it with a little bit more of my of this pork rub here. And we'll do black pepper, because why not? Black pepper is good. Alright. So yep, now they're good. They're ready to go out on the smoker. So we will, I'm going to go check the temperature, and then we'll be back, and I'll show you the hanging process. Alright, so you probably can't see it, but it was at 220-ish at first, and then I closed the lid, so now it's climbing up to 250, which is nice. So I think if I leave everything open, it should rise in temperature slowly. But I'm gonna go ahead and put the meat on there now, and then I can always play with it later and adjust for it later. I do anticipate it's gonna drop a lot, but oh well, you know, at this point, I'm ready to get the meat on the grill. And I'll do the fine tuning later. So now over here I see my wood log has got a little chart on the bottom. Go ahead and close this just so I can see what temperature we're working at, and also to get this smoker hot too. And as you see, it's right at 200. Well, it's a little bit under 200. So hopefully that goes. So I'm gonna go ahead and close up all the vents. I'm gonna leave this open. That one is still open all the way on this side. So hopefully that's enough to get it going, or get a little bit more fire going. But let's focus on the ribs for now. And yeah, I will be back. Alrighty, so grills right now is at 240 something. That's fine, whatever. We're just gonna go ahead and throw the meat on there. And as I got my slab of ribs, so now it's just a matter of hanging them. And because I got 3 hangers, I can put 3 hooks on each hanger, so that way everything's evenly distributed. None of the ribs are too close together, so none of them are touching. Yeah, this is the big one right here. I'll put him right in the middle. That one's going to be the one that takes a while to cook. So now I'm just going to close them up. And yeah, so now what I do want to do is I want to keep a temperature probe in them. So And right now, after I put the cold meat in there, now it's at 235. It's still steady dropping a little bit, but hopefully it doesn't go below 225, and then I can just kind of maintain it like that. But what I do want to add are these little temperature probe things. I used them before, came out pretty good, just to help me keep tabs on where my meat is at. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that in there. That way, I know when they're getting around 180 and I can pull them from there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get, so this is the fattest one. I'm gonna hook this like right at the bottom of it. And I'll try to get it right in the middle without it coming out too much. Seems like it wants to stick in there. Probably should have did this inside. There we go. All right, so now that's in the middle of the meat, and it's gonna be towards the bottom, so that's gonna give me that temperature. And then I'll do another one close. Actually, I'll do another one towards the middle. So that gives me a kind of a range on what my ribs are looking like. All right. So I'm gonna close it. So what I'm noticing is every time that I am opening up the grill, that air is hitting that wood and it's igniting and it's causing like a flare up, which we don't want too much of that. That's why I'm gonna limit the activity of me opening and closing the grill. But as long as I got these, I know, as long as I got these, I should be good. So actually I'm gonna check. Okay, that one's this one. So this is the big one. So I'm gonna put this one on at 1. And then I'm gonna put the regular size one on 2. And now that should be good. I think that's set. Yeah, so I'll be able to check it on my phone. There we go. So now that one's at 59 degrees, and the other one, it should cycle through in a little bit once it gives me a reading. 2 is saying 160. That can't be right. So yeah, I know it's off because it can't be 160. We just put it in there. So maybe it's sticking out too much. So we'll go ahead and play around with that. It's one of the downsides of using these probes. If you don't know what you're doing, it's a struggle, which as you can see clearly I am going through it. Also be careful about touching this with your bare hands. I have burned myself before. So actually we will just take that and put that, you know, we'll try to find a bigger piece. There we go. So this piece right here, that can go right in there. Tricky. Okay, you know what? We'll just go right. There we go. Okay. I think I got it. Alrighty. Yeah, so note to self, if you're using these temperature prongs, put them on the meat first. It'll make life a lot easier. I'm tired of messing with that. I might just pull it all off and just do old school with it. So now I'm over here. So now I got a nice 300 degree, got a nice 300 degrees here. So I'm gonna open that and then I'm gonna come put my rib tips on there. So actually I'll pause it and I'll be right back. All right, so now we're at the next step. Just gonna put the rib tips on here. I haven't actually thought of how or what direction I want to put them in, but we'll just load them in on the smoker this way. And actually, you know what? I can hang some of these on top here. There we go. And I do anticipate some of these to cook faster because they're closer to the fire source. So actually, I'm gonna scoop these over as much as I can because they will shrink when they're being cooked. Actually, this can go up top. And then we get this one here. There we go. Alrighty. I want to keep this away. I want to keep them away from that as possible because they will get cooked a little faster. I want everything to cook nice and evenly. So hopefully this setup works. I mean, you know, we'll come in here, we'll move everything around, and yeah, So now I don't have a probe for the rib tips, but I'll just come out here and check it every now and then, every now and again. And also my bag of goodies, I have a half onion and an apple. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that in this box just for good luck. And I'm gonna go ahead and throw an apple and a half an onion into this smoker for good luck as well. All right. So yep. So now pretty much just gotta watch the temperatures. I'm gonna try to keep everything between 225 and 250-ish. And then once the ribs get about 180, I'm gonna pull them off, and then I'm gonna wrap them, and that'll be the next step for that. And then the rib tips, once they get around that range too, I'm also gonna pull them off. I'm gonna cut them up, sauce them, and everything. But yeah, so that's the first part of Vickcook, just the prep. Now I guess I'll see you guys in another 5-6 hours. Who knows? All right, well, I kind of lost track of time, but I didn't lose track of temperature, and that's what's important here. So actually, I'm gonna open these up a little bit more. So yeah, so my smoker, this one, the temperature dropped down to 215, which I was okay with because the ribs were looking like they were cooking a little bit faster. And over here, I got the rib tips. The temperature's at 300 now, so I'm kind of raising the temperature. So, and here's the difference of what I'm noticing. The offset smoker, as you can see, that's the offset smoker, and these are how the rib tips look. Now, they do have more fat. Oh, and also, those are those random pieces of pork that I just chopped up. So the rib tips are cooking nice and slow, but they're still a little bit more pinkish. Now if you go over here to the actual ribs, they look further along, and what it is because the offset smoker cooks just by the smoke only. So all the heat's over here, and then the so all the heat's over here, and then all the smoke and steam is what's cooking it. So it's truly low and slow. Now over here, I have everything vertical, so even though it is smoking, some of that heat is still hitting those ribs. So like if you like all that, like the charcoal is really down there, and so some of that heat is heating those ribs and cooking it. So I can get a faster cook on the on a barrel drum, which I do like because they do come out tender. And yeah. So that's just something I'm noticing. So I'm gonna go ahead and close these off a little bit. I can slow that down a little bit because the longer they sit in there, the longer they smoking heat, the more tender they'll be. And then also for the offset smoke, so far I haven't had to move anything over yet. But yeah, so I'm keeping this open. I went on ahead and I added another log to this just cause. And every so often I'll come in here and I'll turn the logs around. So yeah, I'll just turn them around so that way they get cooked evenly. And my charcoal pieces are almost gone, which is all right with me because I do want to just cook with just the wood only because wood burns a little hotter, and I can just throw a log in there and forget it. So that's that. So yeah, alrighty, so we are about to go back out, and this is what I forgot to add, some mystery juice. Basically I add a little bit of beer, lemon juice, and apple juice. Yeah, it's really tangy and citrusy, but it helps add a little bit of moisture. I used to have a spray bottle, but I forgot it. So I'm just gonna kind of just drizzle them over the ribs. If I had my fancy brush, I would just brush it on there. But this works too, as long as I just put them on there and let them drip. And they're coming out a nice little color. They're looking pretty good. So yeah, ribs, baby, yeah. Let me open that up. So I got to throw in a third little wood, you dig? A lot of condensation on here, so I can't see the temperature. But now it's at 200. But that's how the rib tips are looking. They getting the color now. They getting the color. These are gonna be really tender once I get done with them. They're gonna be really tender. I wish they'd hurry up though. Now these are the ribs. They are looking delicious. I'm gonna go ahead and pull one up so you can see. There's a lot of smoke going on, but yeah, they're looking very nice. Very nice. You see the wiggle. They got a nice little. They're very soft, or they're very flexible, which is what you kind of want. I'm trying to just move them around, but I'm gonna let them. I'm gonna keep the heat on them. Let them smoke. Let them soften up. Let them dance a little bit more, and then I'm not really paying attention to the temperature anymore because I take the prongs out. The prongs give me all these weird readings. I guess when the meat shrunk, it exposed some of the prong, and that heat was hitting it, so I was getting all types of readings. But I'm not doing with the prongs no more. I'm just gonna look at the ribs. I know what they look like when they should be done. Now these are pretty much done. I could wrap them now, but I want to get them a little bit more darker color. So for that, actually, I think I'm gonna open up everything to kind of get like the heat to them. That'll sear them up a little bit, and then I'll wrap them and everything. Now the rib tips over here, we looking nice on the rib tips. We looking real nice. Yeah, I'm just trying to let this light up. Actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and close this, and I'll just open this a little bit more, get some more air in there, and we should be good. But I think it's been maybe a few hours in, maybe it's probably been like maybe 2-3 hours in, But this drum smoker cooks everything a lot faster than what I anticipated. Last time I did 7 ribs in this, it took me 6 hours. It's probably been a good 3.5 now. But once I take them off, wrap them up, I'm gonna put them back on there for at least another 30, 40, maybe an hour, and to get them real soft. And then and then we'll rock out like that. We're gonna wrap them up, and it should be good to go.